Welcome to the Mouth That Roared. You are watching this on either YouTube or Facebook, but you can also check out the podcast, the audio version of this show, at podbean.com. I thank you all for watching this. I hope you enjoy it. And now, here is the host of the show, Chris Sheehan. Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining me on this very first edition of the Mouth That Roared podcast. Now, whether you're listening to this on podbean.com or you're streaming on Facebook or YouTube, I thank you either way because I really appreciate the views. I really hope that you will tell everybody that you know. And now I want to tell you all this before I begin this episode. This very first episode is going to be a little bit boring at first because I want to tell you all a little bit about my background and how I got started with the podcasting itself, because this isn't my first technical podcast. I mean, I had a show before, in fact, a few months ago, that I had, actually a few weeks ago. I just stopped doing it, but it was called 5 Minutes with Chris, which was basically 5-minute rants about anything. It could be sports, it could be current events, it could be politics, political opinions, or anything like that. And that's what I did for, I would say, about 8 months. Now, I decided to move on to this because it got stale after a while. And I'm hoping that with this longer format and that with this longer amount of time, I will be able to get more things off my chest. I will be able to able to speak more freely and openly about certain things. So, without further ado, now, I told you I want to give you a little bit of background about myself. I was actually going to start with the topic for today, but you know what? I think I'll give you a little bit of background. I am a 21-year-old. I don't have any college experience, nor do I want any. So, it's very basic. I don't really care about college. I think college, honestly, is overrated for certain people. I have a high school diploma. I don't really have much else. I mean, you know, I am what I am. What can I say? I'm just a 21-year-old guy who, well, at least I think I'm a guy. I mean, in today's society, you can never be too sure about that. But I honestly don't have a clue what I want to do. I don't know what it is that I was put on this earth for. I don't know why I'm even talking into this camera or talking into this microphone, for that matter. But you know what? My goal is to entertain people. Hopefully you will like what I put out on anywhere I post things, whether it's Podbean or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. I even have an Instagram account. I hope you all will like it. So, now that my long stories are over and now that half of my audience probably fell asleep, I want to get on with the first topic for today, and that is the straw ban. Now, the whole theme for today is bans. You know, B-A-N-S, not B-A-N-D-S, but B-A-N-S, because many things have happened in recent months about there's been very strange occurrences that have happened, and I really feel the need to talk about it. Now, the straw ban, for those of you that don't know, is something that happened, I would say, within the last maybe month or so. And basically, it's self-explanatory. It's basically where people in San Francisco, Seattle, I believe, and even partially New York as well, are taking part in this new trend. But I don't really like to use that word, trend. I think trend is basically like a term meaning, you know, to follow other people, to not be an individual, but to follow a whole group of people. That's what I really think it is. I don't really think anybody has the goodness of wanting to eliminate plastic from this earth. I don't think that's anybody's goal. I think if people really gave a damn about plastic, they would have eliminated the problem, you know, maybe 50, 60, 70 years ago. But that's just my opinion. Now, I think, honestly, this whole plastic straw thing is just beyond sickening, because the kind of punishments that they are putting out for this, they will actually, and I don't know if this is true, but I read this on the internet. I forget, it might have been Facebook, but, you know, it could have been fake news. I mean, who knows? But I heard a rumor, I'll put it that way, I heard a rumor that if you are caught with a plastic straw in San Francisco, you will be prosecuted. You will be thrown in jail, and, you know, either that or you will have to pay a fine. Now, how ridiculous does that sound? I mean, I think honestly that is beyond sickening. I think people that, first of all, why would you carry a plastic straw on you unless you're using it as a shank to protect yourself in that vile city? I mean, really, I don't have a problem with San Francisco, but let's face it, it's not exactly all that friendly. I mean, really, there's a lot of crime that goes on over there. There's a lot of drug dealers and all that kind of crap. So, it's not exactly one of the most cleanest cities, but it's just, I don't understand though why you would even have a straw on you in the first place. And then what makes it worse is that places like Starbucks, for instance, the company Starbucks is going to eliminate plastic straws altogether. They're going to, by the year, I think by the end of 2018, or even the early 2019, I believe, they're going to eliminate plastic straws, and God knows what they're going to replace them with. I mean, what else could you make a straw out of? I mean, really. That's what I would like to know. I mean, what other kind of materials are there to be able to make straws out of? But, that's just me. I mean, whatever. I don't, first of all, if you're drinking Starbucks in the first place, then there's something wrong with you. I mean, you don't need $5 frappuccinos or whatever. You could get a coffee pot at home. You could brew your coffee for under $1 and save yourself $4, and then that $4 you could use for something else. I mean, you don't need a $5 crappuccino or whatever the hell they serve. I don't know. I don't even drink coffee, I gotta be honest with you. I don't really drink anything except for Coke, honestly. I have no desire to drink Starbucks or any coffee for that matter, but I digress. So, with that being said, back to the plastic. Again, it's been around for over 100 years at this point. Nobody thought to do anything before. I mean, nobody thought to ever say anything, to ever try to just eliminate plastic, to maybe use glass instead. I mean, that, maybe it's just me, but where were these so-called activists and all? I mean, that's just how I feel. I mean, I think honestly it's ridiculous. But you know what? I just sit back and laugh, honestly, when I see stories like this or hear stories like this. It makes you realize how ridiculous people are and ridiculous how society has gotten. And I just really think we need to get our shit together. That's really all I could say. I think we need to start taking more things seriously, but not too serious. You understand what I'm saying? There should be a limit to how much seriousness we can have with a certain subject. This is just beyond ridiculous. I don't know, people. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just how I look at the situation. But I think, honestly, it just really needs to stop. And, I don't see it getting any better. I gotta be honest. I don't see any of this getting any better. And when you look at bans in particular, like now that, I talked about the straw ban, I can move on to the next topic, and that is the banning of Alex Jones from Infowars. Now, I have to say this, I'm not a huge Alex Jones fan to begin with. I mean, I only watched his videos on YouTube and Facebook and even Infowars.com just for, I guess you could say, comedic purposes, because I really found a lot of his conspiracy theories funny. I really thought, they were so far-fetched that and nobody would believe them except for this little cult following that he has, I want to say this, though, about Alex Jones. I think he should be able to do and say whatever he wants. He shouldn't be censored. He shouldn't be banned. That's part of the beauty of this country, or at least what this country used to be beautiful about, was free speech. You could say and do whatever you wanted without having to answer to anybody because, they had their little feelings hurt or whatever. I mean, honestly, like, whatever happened to those days? I mean, really, it's really ridiculous, honestly, in my opinion. I mean, there's so many things going wrong with this country that the fact that a guy like Alex Jones, who granted he's a conspiracy theorist and he does a lot of, how do I say this? He has a lot of wacky ideas, a lot of wacky conspiracy theories. I mean, he believes that Sandy Hook, for example, and this is what I heard, this is the theory that got him in trouble, but the amount of time, though, that they went back and dug this up, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, he said this about 5 or 6 years ago, And all of a sudden, now it's getting attention, and this is what's getting him banned. It got him banned from places like Facebook, it got him banned from places like YouTube and Instagram, and even Twitter, and I think iTunes as well. He had all of his podcasts and all of his shows taken off of there. And I think, honestly, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the guy should be able to say what he wants without being censored. I mean, really. You know, they talk about having, they talk about all this Russian crap, you know, all the Russians are secret agents or whatever shit. I mean, but you know what? What really is tearing apart this country, it's not the Russians, all the Russian crap that's going on. It's people banning and censoring other people. That's really what's tearing this nation apart. That's what's dividing everybody. I mean, with that said, it was only because he was banned with this conspiracy theory. That's really what it comes down to. It had nothing to do with anything else other than the fact that they didn't like this one conspiracy theory. I mean, who knows? I don't really know what else to say about this. I think, honestly, again, I will repeat this. I think, you know, he should be able to get away with what he wants. He should be able to say what he wants. And I think, honestly, even the president as well. I mean, I could say that about Donald Trump because he's pretty much the same type of person. I mean, I don't know if Donald Trump's into conspiracy theories, but I would say that about President Trump as well, that he could pretty much say or do whatever he wants, and he does. He goes on Twitter a lot, which, by the way, I can't stand, even though that is part of his right to be able to do that. I still don't like the fact that he's always on Twitter basically saying, I told you so about certain things. I just think, honestly, that kind of stuff needs to stop. I think the way I look at it, now, this is going to sound really stupid, but it's the truth, and that is the fact that nobody will ever take President Trump seriously. I mean, even if he was to stop all of this Twitter stuff and all of this social media bullshit, nobody would ever take him seriously. He would never get the respect as the President of the United States, no matter what happened. No matter what, even if, God forbid, Donald Trump was, you know, shot at or something like that, he would still never get the respect that he deserves. It's mind-boggling is what it is. It's just ridiculous. It's sad. It's pathetic that people are so hateful. I mean, they really are. They are so hateful in a sense where they don't care, you know? They don't care about the president. They don't care about anybody for that matter, except for who they support and who they, you know, want on their side, I suppose. But I think, honestly, I don't want to get off topic here. I know I have a little bit, but Alex Jones, I think he will bounce back from this. I think it will. Eventually, he will be allowed on Facebook again and maybe Twitter. But I think, you know, it's going to take a while. And it's, especially with these conspiracy theories of his, it's going to take probably a really long time for that matter. But, you know, nobody knows for sure. And that's the thing. I mean, you just got to wait and see. I personally would like to see Alex Jones back on social media, even though, like I said, I'm not a huge fan. And that's the end of that. That's really all I could say about it. So, the next order of business that I want to talk about now is the animal crackers. I don't know how many of you have heard about this, but there was an animal cracker controversy. I mean, really. It's really ridiculous, honestly. Controversy. I can never say that word. I always want to say controversy. Like, it sounds like a candy. Like, from the makers of Hershey's comes controversy. You know? But, whatever. I mean, I can't help the way I talk. What am I? You know, I'm not an English major by any means. I'm just an ordinary guy. What can I say? I feel like, you know, this is just beyond. This is even more stupid than the straw ban, to tell you the truth. I don't know how many of you have heard about this, but the cookie company, Nabisco, has decided to remove the cage from. They have decided to remove the cages from the animal cracker box because apparently you can't have animals behind a cage anymore, especially zoo animals. Because the animal rights people, they don't allow that anymore. They don't want that. They would rather not have it that way, but yet, what do you want? You know, when you go to a zoo, The animals are behind a cage for a reason. You don't go and expect a giraffe to step on your head or shit on your head for that matter. I mean, really. You have to put them behind a cage because if not, they're going to run free and they're going to cause havoc. I mean, let's face it. I mean, who could be that stupid not to agree with that? I mean, it takes a lot to be this moronic, honestly. It really does. I mean, this is just, people have nothing better to do. They have nothing better to bitch about. They have nothing better to complain about, just to nitpick. That's really what our society is nowadays. It's all about nitpicking. Nobody cares. I mean, nobody really actually gives a shit about the cookie, or nobody gives a shit about the animals on the cookie box. Nobody cares about them. They're cartoons, for Christ's sake. Nobody cares what it is. I mean, it's just ridiculous that people have nothing better to do with themselves than to bitch and moan about a stupid box of crackers. I mean, what are we really doing here? I mean, really, what the fuck are we doing? I mean, when is this going to stop? Like, really, who is going to stop this? When is it going to stop? And who do I have to well, I guess you could say, who do I have to blow in order to make them stop? Like, really? Because it really just bothers the hell out of me. I mean, it really is beyond sickening. I mean, I don't know, people. I've just had enough of these animal cracker. I've had enough of all of these stories. I mean, the straw ban, the Alex Jones controversy, the animal cracker controversy. I think I've had enough of all of this. So, anyway, I'm interested. I want you all to leave your comments. I want you all to let me know how you feel about any of these stories or all of them. Leave a comment on the Facebook page, the Mouth That Roared Facebook page, or the Mouth That Roared YouTube channel. And I don't know about Podbean. I would assume Podbean you could probably write comments, I would assume. If so, you could do it there. But I will read every one of them, I promise you that. I will respond to most of your questions. And I want to thank you all. I really would like to thank you all for watching or listening to this on Podbean.com, or you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, and I would like to thank you all, and I think I'm going to wrap it up here. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody. I can't thank you all enough. I will keep thanking you, and until next time, I suppose, until tomorrow, because after all, this is a 4-day-a-week broadcast, so you will be hearing another show tomorrow, around the same time. I don't know for sure. But I thank you all for joining me, and goodbye, everybody.